Hey friends, hope you're doing fine. Here I'd like to show you a trick how you can sort date values correctly. And I'm actually show you first the default way I always do it, and then I'm gonna show you another trick which allows you to do it in one step. Okay, so let's get into that. At first, let's say I'm interested in the profit development across several months for the year. So if so, I could use the dates column, of course, but I also could use, if I go in here, the full month name. So if I tick on month name here, then we can see here a list of the month names. And then if I use any of my KPIs, let's say the total profit, I tick it, and I get a table with my month names and my total profit. So far so good, nothing new. However, I don't want to display it as a table. So what I do is I simply switch it to, let's say, a line chart. I tick the line, and now if I make this a little bit bigger, then you basically can see the chart, and you can also see the current sorting. Meaning it starts in April, then there's January, then March, February, and so on. So obviously the sorting is not correct. And the reason for this is by default here, the sorting is based on the value of total profit. So it's descending sorted, so it starts with the highest value and it goes to the lowest value. And the same of course is true if you choose, for instance, let's say a bar chart here, right? Would be exactly the same. So what can we do? Well, if you click the three dots here, then here under sort axis, they can specify how you want to sort. Currently, you see that total profit is selected here, but I could simply check month name. So I click on month name, and now you see we are sorting by the months. However, the way the sorting works currently, as you can see here, it's descending, so it's sorted alphabetically from, in this case, the last character to the first, so from S to A in this case. If I click on the three dots again and take a look at the sorting options I have by default, I can see I can also sort it ascending. But these are the only two options I have. So if I tick on ascending, for instance, I would see here it starts with April, then August, December, and so on. So also not the way I need to sort it. I want to start in January, and of course my last value should be December. And by the way, I can also see that the month names here are currently in German, but you should see the same behavior in your native language, of course. Now, how can we fix this? There are two options to fix it. The first one is the one I always used, which is to use a sorting column. Meaning we have a second column and we sort the month names simply by this second column. Like it's a supporting column which allows us to sort correctly. So as an example, I could go, let's actually first select my dates table here. So let's go to the view here under data, and there's my dates table. And currently, if I take a look at the month name, this column, that's what we currently use. You can then go here under column tools, and there's an option to sort by column. Meaning, if I click this option, by default, it's sorting by the same column. So the month name is sorted by the month name, which means it's sorted alphabetically, ascending or descending. But this doesn't help us. But there's also, in this case, a month of year, meaning a number, which means January is first, and February is second, and of course December is 12th. So this means we can sort the month name based on the month of year column. And let's first, one more time, check the report. Currently we see it starts in April, and then it goes to September. But then if I go back to the data view here, and say I want to go to month name, and I go to sort by column, and now I'm searching for the month of year column, so this one, go to month of year, and be aware it should be month of year. So let's just check that, month of year. There it is, this one. So I tick this option, and you see that currently it's working. Nothing has really changed in this view. However, if we go back to the report view, now we can see it's sorted correctly. So from January to December. And of course, if you want to sort it the other way around, if you go in here, sort axis, this would mean you sort descending, then it would start in December and go back to January. But this is the normal fix we have. So maybe let me go back to the data view and let's actually switch this back So go in here to sort by, and then I'm using the month name again. So just to have our original sorting. And if I go back to my report view, now you can see that it's not sorted correctly. Now, how can we fix this using DAX? This is now the second option, which I'm going to show you, which is using a DAX expression actually for that. And using an additional calculated column in our data set, which has the month names sorted automatically in a correct order. So the way it works is, of course, we go to the dates table here, and we need to create a new column. So we can go in here and say we want to create a new column. I tick this option, and then let me zoom in so you can see that better on the screen. Okay, here we go. And this will be my, let's say, month name sorted. Okay. Of course, you can give this a better name, but in this case, I'm just using this one. Shift Enter to go to new line. And for this month name sorted, what I will do is I will use the repetition function. So it's a combination of rep. Rept T is simply repetition, so repeat in this case, a specific text and a number of times. So quite easy to use. Just think of how often do you want to repeat a specific text or a specific string. So what I want is actually I want to use a unichar character. And this unichar character is basically a space. So it's empty. However, if we use it, then it will not move our specific month name actually. So that means I'm simply using here the 0032. That's a specific unichar, and you can look it up on the internet if you want. But now we have basically the character we want to repeat, and we say how often do we want to repeat it? Well, we say simply 12 minus, and then we use the month of year. So month of year, this column, which we used for sorting. Remember, the month of year column simply contains the numbers from 1 to 12. And this means that, of course, if we create it in our dates table, then for January, the dates table month of year is 1, meaning we repeat this unichar character 11 times, so 12 minus 1. For February would be 10, so 12 minus 2, and so on. And of course, for December, it would be 0 times, because 12 minus 12 is 0. So we simply place this specific character in front of our month name. So meaning we now can close the repetition function, and we simply combine it with the original column, which is month name. So month name, this one here, and we are basically good to go. Of course, you can now format this further if you want. For now, I just skip that. I just press enter, and let's have a look. So we created our new column, which is month name sorted. And now let's recreate this chart. So let's say, again, we create a line chart. I take the line option here as a template. I'm using here my total profit, tick this option, and then I'm going to my dates table. And this time I'm using the specific calculate column, this month name, and I tick it. And now we can see, let's take a look for comparison. By default, again, it is sorted not by the month name, but by the total profit figure. But if we now switch this, go in here, go to sort axis, and now choose month name sorted, the first one. And then of course we want to sort it ascending. So go to the sort axis one more time and say ascending in here. And we are good to go. And now you can see if you compare those two, of course, maybe you can't read German, but if you compare those two in your native language, you'll see that this is now sorted by default correctly without the additional sorting column. It's basically an implementation of the sorting column inside the DAX expression. And this has some benefits, especially if it comes to all selected function, because if you use it in specific calculate expressions with all selected, then you need to make sure that you also include the sorting column. Otherwise you get some issues and problems and also wrong numbers. This is now a little bit too much for this video, but the basic idea is if you want to use a DAX expression to get the sorting without using an additional sorting column, then this would be a way to do it. Okay? And what's the better option? Well, I leave this up to you to decide what you prefer. By default, I always used in the past the first one, so the first way with the helper column, but this expression I discovered recently, and I think it's worth to share it with all of you. So hopefully that was helpful and interesting. Thanks a lot for watching and hopefully see you in the next video. Until then, best guys.